you know. I told y'all the story of the clerk, cashier clerk, didn't I? Yesterday or the day before, did I tell y'all that story? Let me rephrase that. Miss Stewart, did I tell you the story about the cashier clerk? Huh?
It's not ringing a bell.
Okay. Well, I go to the only place I go besides Amazon is the Highway 24 Walgreens and the Highway 24 Shell Station and the Highway 24 Ingalls. And if I need something from hardware store, I go down to the White Jones. I'm getting like my daddy. I'm not good around people, especially when they're dumbasses. So I don't go into town very much. And I was checking out at Ingalls, and I noticed the girl's fingernails were painted gold and black. I said, "You must be from Pendleton." And she was like, "Yeah, how'd you know that?" I said, "Well," I said, your fingernails are not the right color for Hannah, and they're very particular about how they paint their fingernails about Hannah. So I said, "You must be Pendleton because the shade of gold is a little bit, you know." She said, "Yep, I'm a senior." I said, "You take any math?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm taking a math at Tri-County right now." And I said, "Oh, which one? Math 120?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "How you liking it?" She said, "I'm hating it." She said, "I took Math 120 in high school and made an A in it." I said, "What do you think the problem is?" And she said, "Well, my teacher, the class is supposed to meet 3 times a week, and he only meets 1 time a week, and then we have a test every 2 weeks." And I said, "Oh," I said, "he don't record his classes?" She looked at me like I was from Mars. And I said, "Well, here's my name." And I gave her my name on a piece of paper. And she said, "Oh, you're Hubert McClure. You're the guy that records his classes." I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, how do I get to your classes on YouTube?" And she wrote it down. She said, "Well, I'm going to look up your classes." I said, "Well, go ahead." I said, "But I'm not, don't get mad at anything you might hear." Anyway, I thought it was an interesting conversation. The student from another class looking up my videos. And I got my own students that won't even look at them. Oh, well. Anyway, we are recording, and I'm going to pull up the first question I got. Both of them are from 6.2, but I went over them yesterday for the Math 120 24 class. 29 class. So I'll go over them today because one is from 120 24. And the other one is from 120 29. So they're from both classes. So the first one is 6.2 29/10. And this is doing a binomial distribution. So I'm going to pull up my handy dandy calculator. And for some reason I can't. There we go. And pull up the handy dandy question. And I can do this, no paper needed. N is 6, so I'm going to hit second, vars, binomial PDF, meaning precise. And I'm going to type in 6.15 and 0 and paste and enter. I love this question because if you can do this question, you're ready for 6.1 and 6.2 on the test because this has got everything in it. X and P of X. And I might as well show you what I'm drawing at the same time. There we go. So 0, the probability of 0 events happening is 0.3771. And I'm going to show you a trick I learned in the war. You hit second entry, and it pulls up the last thing you did. Change that to a 1. 0.3993. I'm telling you right now that this one is skewed right because a lot of your probability is on the what? Left. 3993. We better be getting some zeros because what's 37 cents and 40 cents? That's 77 cents. So we already got 77 right here out of $1. So that means the rest of these are going to be pretty close to zero. Second, vars 2. I'm sorry, second enter. That's 0.1762. Second enter. Change that to 3. 0.0415. The chances of 4 events happening. There's those zeros. 0.0055. 5 events happening. It's going to be 3 zeros and a 4. And 6 events. Don't it go to 6? Yeah. And that's 3 zeros and a 3. Another, wait a minute. Did I do the same thing? Let me go back.
Yeah, I don't think the last number was changed.
6. There we go. Well, that's 4 zeros, so you can't. And there you go. So let's go ahead and do, they're going to ask a lot of stuff here. And if you turn this on its side, 0.33 and 0.33, that's up here. And then it comes down, and then it bottoms out. So if you have your middle right around 2.5 or 3, what is that? Skewed left or skewed right?
Skewed right.
Skewed right. So let's write that down. Skewed right. And let's go ahead and find the mean and standard deviation. So I'm going to do it in the calculator because most of you have the calculator pulled up right now. You don't have an Excel spreadsheet. So stat, edit, and I'm going to go over here and say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And go up here. And 0.3771, 0.3993, 1762, 0415, 0055, 0.0004, and 0.0000. And now I'm going to go to stat, calculate, 1 variable statistic, enter. It always goes to L1 and L2. If not, I had one student yesterday, she kept getting the wrong answer, and I walked her through again, and she said, I don't have an L2. Well, then if you don't have an L2, you need to type it in. Second, 2. and then hit calculate. There's your X bar. X bar is equal to 0.9002, and sigma is equal to 0.8747. Need y'all to check y'all's and make sure actually 8748. And usually areas or probabilities is going to be rounded to 4 decimal places in chapter 7 and from here on out. Okay, so we got part 1, that's doing the chart. Part 2 is doing a graph. Part 3 is doing the mean and standard deviation. Part 4 is doing the mean and standard deviation by the rule of thumb. And I use that term loosely, but that's basically what mean is equal to NP, variance is equal to NPQ, and standard deviation is equal to the square root of the variance, which is the square root of NPQ. So N is equal to, we said N was equal to 6 and 0.15. So 6 times 0.15, I could probably do that in my head. Let's see, 10% of 6 is 0.6, so that would be 0.6. And half of 0.6 is 0.3, so 0.6 and 0.3 is 0.9. So somebody check me and multiply 6 times 0.15.
That's right.
Of course it is. All right, next, 0.9 times, what's the complement of 0.15?
.85.
Thank you. All right, now 10% of 0.9 is 0.09. And 0.09 times 8 is 0.72. And half of 0.09 is 0.045. So 0.72 and 0.045 should be 0.765. Somebody check me.
That's right.
And that is NP, that's the variance. And then if I take the square root of that, well, let's see, I don't know, 625. 625 is 25, but I don't know what 26 is, so I can't do it. So somebody take the square root of 0.765 for me. What do you get? Square root of 0.765. What do you get?
0.8746.
8746. So it looks like to me it's pretty close to up here. This is more detailed. So it looks like to me 0.9 versus 0.9002 and 0.8748 versus 0.8746. That's pretty dadgum close. And that should be what they're going to ask you. So let's go through the question, and I'll take my handy dandy sheet and put it in front of me so I can type these in. 0.3771, 0.3993, 0.1762, 0.0415, 0.0055, 0.0004, and 0.0000. It's a miracle. And our mu using the detailed is 0.9002. Okay, 2 decimal places. Got to read those directions. Now, guys, there's only one guy in here besides me. We don't read directions very well. Okay? Or we got a couple of guys. I don't read directions very well, so you got to read the directions. That'd be 0.87. And here's rule of thumb. Rounded 2 decimal places, 0.90 and 0.87. And we're looking for skewed right. And that looks like skewed right. Charlie looks like skewed right. Delta and Bravo, they aren't even choices. The only choices you have is Charlie and Alpha goes up at the end, and of course you go down because it's 0 at the end. And it's skewed right. This question, if you want to see if you can do 6.1 and 6.2 material on a test, if you can do this question and not have any problems, then you can do 6.1 and 6.2. It's a good question. Any questions, or does everybody feel good about themselves? Okay. So nobody needs to put smokestacks on their pickup truck, right? Everybody feels good about themselves? Okay. Everybody's weaned on a pickle. I'm even lost Miss Stewart. She's not talking to me anymore. All right, 6.2, 41/13. Okay, this is a 6.2 question that's kind of more detailed. 13 jurors are randomly selected from a population of 5 million residents. Well, the only number you need to know is 13 because that's N. Well, how did you know that, Hubert? Because 13 jurors is the maximum amount that you can put on a jury. P is equal to 0.49. And since I do things in different colors for y'all, you're welcome. Therefore, Q is equal to point what? What's Q equal to if P is equal to 0.49? What's 49 cents from a dollar?
0.51.
Thank you. And X is going to be whatever they ask for. Okay. Well, we'll get to that in just a minute. X is going to be, and we'll do that later whenever we get to the question that has X in it. What proportion of jury described is from a minority? Okay, so A is going to be some number over 13 because they're saying of the jury. So how many minorities do we have? We have 2. So that's going to be equal to 2 over 13. And since they're asking for probability, we're going to put that in 4 decimal places. So 2 divided by 13. Any good movies lately? 0.1538. I've been watching a lot of Jason and Michael Myers lately because it's Halloween, but nobody's going to say anything. Okay. If 13 jurors are randomly selected from a population of 49% are minorities, 0.49, What is the probability that 2 or fewer? Hey, there we go. B. We got our number line. And 0 is here and 13 is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, to 13. Now, let me ask y'all a question. Can a half of a person serve on a jury?
No.
How about 0.3 of a person?
No.
No. So you're only dealing with whole numbers here. Sorry. You're only dealing with whole numbers. So somebody tell me what 2 or few means. 2 or fewer. Tell me what that means.
2 or less.
2 or less. Who was that? Miss Griffith. Miss Griffith drank her Mountain Dew this morning. She's just a little bit late, right, Miss Griffith?
I haven't had anything yet, but I probably will.
Oh, well, you need to drink something, girl. All right. 2, 1, and 0. So there you go. So now you can do it 2 ways. You can do NP0 plus NP1 plus NP2. That's old school, using binomial PDF. Or what's the other way to do it? Not binomial PDF, but binomial what?
CDF.
Community.
And the C stands for what? CUMM.
Cumulative.
Cumulative, meaning from the left. So if you do NP2 and do cumulative, it will do this plus that. So I'm going to do cumulative. Let's do both. It's Friday. We ain't got, we're not pressed for time. So I'm going to do second vars binomial PDF. I'm going to have to do it 3 times. So 13.49 and 0. And I'm going to stow that. You know, that's where you go get bread at stow. So I'm going to stow that alpha A. Okay, so that's alpha A. So I'm going to call this alpha A. And we're going to hit second, enter, second, enter. I'm going to change that to 1. And stow alpha B. So that's alpha B. And then I'm going to second vars, and change that to a 2. And stow alpha C. Sorry, I had a brain bubble there for a second. And now I'm going to add those 3 up. So clear alpha A plus alpha B plus alpha C. I got 0.0135. Now I'm going to do it by cumulative. So clear, second, vars, binomial cumulative, and 13, 0.49, and 2. Look up there, it's a miracle. 0.0135. Now, just for giggles, what if it said, what would this mean in blue? Somebody tell me how to say in blue. How do you say that? Not at most, but what?
At least 3.
Exactly. So if it said, if the questions, and I'm going to put an imaginary C. If the question said at least 3 or 3 or more, okay? If it said at least 3, then how would you get, you can't do cumulative from 3 to infinity or 3 to 13. So how do you do it and not do NP3 plus NP4 plus NP5 all the way up to NP13? How would you get that right-hand side right there?
Subtract the complement.
Exactly. Subtract the pink. Okay, so if I wanted at least 3, I would take 1, which is the probability, minus the pink, oh, the things I do for y'all, 0.0135, and that will leave me with, somebody do that, please. What's 0.9865?
Yep.
And that's the blue probability. Now that's if they ask you for at least 3. And I would much rather type in 3 pink ones than, I don't know, 10 blue ones. I don't want to type in 10 NP3, NP4, NP5, NP6, NP7, MP8, MP9, MP10, MP11, MP12, and MP13 and add them all up. That's ridiculous. So, and the last thing they ask you is, and D, I'll put that in black because it's back to the question. So that's A, that's B, and D. And then C, is B unusual? Well, remember what I told you, the 5% rule back in chapter 1 or 2, unit 1 or 2. I told you if your probability is less than a nickel, it's unusual. If your probability is greater than a nickel, it's normal. So what is our probability? Is a 1 cent greater or less than a nickel?
Less than.
It's less than. So we have an unusual event. So let's type in our answers. Well, they're already typed in. And there is the word unusually. And of course it's low because 2 out of, you know, it's unusually low. 0.1035 is unusually low. Now, if it had been 0.72, then it would be unusually high. If it was around 0.05, it would be reasonable. Why am I not even looking at impossible? What's wrong with the word impossible? Impossible, exact, perfect, those are all words that are too strong for probability. So you can forget anything with the word impossible. What was the other word I said? Exact. You usually don't use those words in probability. It's all about estimating. And the only thing about drinking fruit juice in the morning is it causes a chemical reaction with the fluoride in toothpaste. Oh, y'all settle down, please. Miss Stewart, you're not supposed to say anything in here. You know that, don't you?
I'm picking up on it.
The other people that are weaned on a pickle. Yeah, the other people that are weaned on a pickle, they don't want you to talk because it might cause something called communication. That's why all these people are going to be stuck in little closet offices because they don't communicate. Right, Miss Griffith?
Mm-hmm.
Miss
Yep.
Griffith.
Sorry.
I have a feeling Miss Griffith wants to go back to sleep. All right, so that's the 2 homework questions. Now, how far did we get the other day with 7.1? Somebody tell me, how far? I know we got 7.1. I showed y'all, you know, the rectangle and the curve. What else did I show y'all?
We did an example of area under a normal curve.
Okay. All right, then we'll just start from there. All right, so with 7.1, you're talking about, we did time, and if I give you 60 here, then this is going to be 1 over 60. And if I told you what is the probability of at least 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes, then that would be halfway, and the base would be 30. At least means to the right, so this would be 30, so you would multiply 30 times 1 over 60, which is equal to 30 over 60, which is equal to 1/2. So you got a 50% chance that the person is going to be over 30 minutes. Okay, so that's the uniform distribution. And the second type question you're going to get in 7.1 or 7.2, because the reason I say 7.1 is the old book. The old book used to divide 7.1 into 7.2 into the different 2 questions. This one doesn't do that. So you may see this in 7.1 or 7.2. I don't remember. But anyway, there's 3 types of questions. A, B, C. And each one of these questions, the mean is equal to 0 and the standard deviation is equal to 1. That's the 7.1 type questions. And they're going to ask you, let's see, what is the probability of X or whatever being above 0.6? What is the probability of X being below or equal to, you can have it equal to because it does include negative 1.5. And what is the probability of being between 1 and 2? Okay. So here are the 3 type questions that you'll have. And of course, you got to draw a picture. for each one. And I told y'all to copy and print out these, have the, let's see, have 0.15, 34, 34, 13.5, 13.5, 2.35, 2.35, and 0.15, and 0.15. And this is 0, 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3. Well, I'm going to try to do these on one page, okay? So we're going to do this in pink. So where's 0.6? Well, 0.6, there's 0.5. So 0.6 would be right in there. And I want to know everything greater, and I want to know this pink side right here. Now, on the number line, you've got two arrowheads, and this arrowhead down here is called negative infinity, and this arrowhead right here is called positive infinity. Now, we can't use infinity in probability, so we're going to use -9999 and positive 9999. Now, you can use 10,000 if you want to. You can use 987 or 9,800 if you want to. You can use 100,000 if you want to. The reason I use 4 nines is it's easy for people to remember 4 nines. So I don't care what you use. As long as you use above 3 digits, 999 above 3 digits, I'm fine. You can use 999. You can use 99995. You can use 99992. You can use 10,436. Okay? You just need to use a BA number. I choose 9999. All right? So my point right here is 0.6. So I want to know the area of under the curve from 0.6 to 9999 because that's the area I've got shown right here. So how do you do that, Hubert? Well, here we go. You type in second vars, and normal CDF. And I think we did this. I think we did one of these the other day. And my lower limit, since we read from left to right, my lower limit is 0.6. And my upper limit is 9999. So my pink area, now, first of all, let's look at empirical rule. We know the empirical rule says that we got 50% up to this point. If you add up all these, you get 50%. And this is, I'm going to say half of this. This is half, has 17, but it's a little bit more than half because we're going to 0.6. So I'm going to say 20. 20 plus 50 is 70. So I'm going to say this pink area by the empirical rule, I'm going to say it's around 30%. Or 0.3000. Now that's using the empirical rule. Okay, empirical rule. And the reason you want to use the empirical rule is to make sure you're in the right ballpark. Okay, so by the empirical rule, I'm thinking it's going to come out to be around 30% or 0.3000. Let's see what the calculator says. 0.2742 or 0.27. The actual answer is 0.2743, which is 27%. So I am pretty close. 0.2743 or 27.43%. So I've got a 27% chance or a 0.2743 probability that the numbers are going to fall over 0.6. All right, let's do this one. And I know I'm running out of time, but you'll be all right. Negative 1.5. Negative 1.5 would be right here, and they want to know less than. So I'm going to add up, that's 2.5. 2.35 and 0.15 is 2.5. And half, somebody, what's half of 13? 7? 6.5? So 6.5 plus 2.5, dang old 9%. So I'm going to say somewhere around 9% or 0.0900 by the empirical rule. So we're going to punch it in and let's see what we get. So second, I'm just going to hit, no, I better hit bars. And normal CDF. And lower is negative 9999. Upper is negative 1.5. And we say the answer is going to be around 9%. Okay, 7%. So the actual answer is 0.0668 or 6.68%. That's the actual answer. Now let's do in between. We're going to use green. Oops. Dang, I have to pick up my pens because my cats, if I drop my pens, the cats will play with them and they'll be all over the place and I won't be able to find them. And I got one cat that picks up the pens and carries them around like a mouse. So I think she's off her rocker. But anyway, I'm going to go between 1 and 2. So between 1 and 2. Somebody tell me by the empirical rule, what is between 1 and 2? What's the percentage between 1 and 2? I just circled it. 13.5, Hubert. That's right. So by the empirical rule, we're going to get around 0.1350 or 13.5. So the lower limit is going to be 1. So I'm going to type in second, bars, normal CDF, 1, 2, and paste. And I think it's going to be around 0.1350. Look up there. It's a miracle. And the actual answer is 0.1359. Now, I have just shown y'all how 7.1 in one slide. So I would highly suggest that after this afternoon, when I upload this video, that you go over this several times and you know that you can hit the rewind button. It's a miracle of technology that you can watch a video and hit rewind. It's just a miracle. And that way you can go over this because chances are we're going to get some questions on Monday, you know, for the one person that does the homework. We're going to get some questions on Monday and we're going to be going over this again. And the more that you watch this video and go back and forth to see how I did this, the better. Okay? And again, that's for the one person that's going to do the homework over the weekend. Any questions? Okay, well, I do not have to take the roll, so I'm going to shut down the recording. And if anybody has any questions,